giving me this opportunity. I'll begin with what our chairman has already mentioned, what is open schooling. I'll begin with that. Now, the open schooling movement or the open and distance learning movement started with a shift from institution-led learning to own-time self-learning at a distance. That is what it means actually, that the child, the learner and the teacher or the tutor or the counselor, they are at a distance, and the institution does not decide what is to be learned, how it is to be learned, where it is to be learned, but the learner himself or herself decides what is to be learned, and so self-learning becomes important. And in fact, self-learning is the best learning, this all of us know as educationists. And so that brought in flexibility in terms of time, place, space, choice of subjects, etc., which our chairman already mentioned. And then blended learning, that was also mentioned, particularly in the skill development areas. It is blended learning. The theory part can be learned by themselves. The study materials can be given, self-learning materials. But there has to be a hands-on training, the skill training, hands-on training has to be there. And as our chairman mentioned, they will be required to come to a place where they can take this hands-on training. So probably, as he said, 70% will be over there, and 30% will be the flexibility, which he termed as flexibility, because the learner does not have to go there. And then, of course, it led to the concept of lifelong learning. The formal system does not cater to this idea because there is restriction of age. But in the open learning system, there is no restriction of age. And learner orientation, of course, as I said, it is the learner who decides how he or she wants to study, where he or she wants to study, and what he or she wants to study. Choice of subjects was mentioned. Then autonomous learning, of course, when it is self-learning, it is autonomous. And use of multiple and multimedia and ICT, this was also mentioned. And National Institute of Open Schooling does make use of a lot of ICT and multimedia. We have our own studios. The latest HD studio, we have a video studio, latest HD studio. We have a latest audio studio, and there is an old video studio also where and it is from the audio studio that we, do that 3 hours of live radio, which is on the web. It is a web radio, and you can access it through the internet, through our website. And of course, we also have things like teleconferencing, and we are going to venture into mobile learning also very soon. And we have already gotten apps for the mobile developed, NIS apps, and we are still working on it to finalize it. And then, since the numbers don't become important in the institution, there is a limitation of space, and so numbers. But here it is open to all because there is no problem of numbers. So it becomes egalitarian. It is open to all. And equality of educational opportunities comes in because the formal system is more elitist. It is more for the elite. But the open schooling is for the masses. And so there is equality of educational opportunities in many ways. Now, what is the vision of NIOS? Sustainable, inclusive learning with universal and flexible access to quality school education and skill development. In my title, I mentioned sustainable development, towards sustainable development. And that is where we start our vision with that word, sustainable, inclusive learning. And then the mission of NIOS, we are more or less, all of us must be familiar with that. It comes out of that vision. Then we have undertaken large projects, as our chairman was mentioning, where we have been given the task of training and assessing and certifying different kinds of categories of workers. One big project in this, I'm going to mention a few of them, there are many, but some of them I've listed over here. One of them is certification of ASHA workers, who are the, the village social health workers, accredited social health activists. Then certification of untrained health workers in Bihar state. Then basic literacy assessment under Saksha Bharat in collaboration with National Literacy Mission Authority. Then training of untrained in-service elementary teachers. And then recognition of prior learning. And there are many other collaborative projects. The ASHA certification project is a multi-crore project of the Health Ministry. It is funded by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, under the National Health Mission. They have entrusted us the task of certifying, of course, training and certifying 9 lakh ASHA workers all over the country. The duration is 5 years. All these 9 lakh will, the target is to train them in 5 years. And the course that we are going to give them is NSQF compliant level 3 curriculum we are going to give them. And course material and guide will be in all regional languages. It has to be, because they are all village level workers. And there will be 200 hours of training and study. So again, the blended mode, most of it will be self-learning mode, and then they will be coming to a place where they will be trained also, and hands-on experience will be given. Then this is a new project which has recently we have started on it. Certification of untrained health workers in Bihar state. This is in partnership with the Bihar government, the Ministry of Health over there. More than 4 lakh untrained health workers are there in Bihar. And they are going to be trained through a 1-year diploma course of NIOS on community health. Again, 400 hours of training and study for both theory and practical. The study centers will be in the primary health centers and the first referral units of Bihar government. So they are well equipped, all of them, they are the government centers of medical centers, and they will be the study centers. Then there is this basic literacy assessment. The neo-literates, those who undergo the adult literacy program, they are being assessed by us, and we have been doing it for the last 4 years. And up till now, we have assessed more than 5 crores. Actually, nearly 5 crores according to this, till March 2015. But day after tomorrow, we have another assessment. It is day after tomorrow, sir, no? Day after tomorrow, we are having this assessment, where the target is 1 crore. So, 1 crore 65 lakhs. 1 crore 65 lakhs is the target. And then, under the RTE Act, all the untrained elementary teachers had to be trained. So the MHRD entrusted us this task. A part of this, in 4 states we are doing it: Jharkhand, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Himachal Pradesh. And 20,000 beneficiaries, 20,000 teachers have been or are being trained through our DLED program. We have developed a framework for recognition of prior learning in collaboration with Open Polytechnic New Zealand and Commonwealth of Learning. And a pilot project has been was done for domestic workers in collaboration with NSDC and BABLE, which was the agency which was training them. Other collaborative projects we have with ITDC, we have developed courses in hospitality. IMA, Indian Medical Association, we have developed courses in paramedical. Construction Industry Development Council for construction-related courses. Cisco is in the computer education programs we have developed with them in hardware and software. Then NIC also we have developed some computer-based programs with them. And National Skill Development Corporation. And we have also tied up with National Skill Development Agency. Both of them we are partners with both of them. Now, I will conclude with this. Education for Sustainable Development according to UNESCO, now that the MDG is the Millennium Development Goals have been replaced by Sustainable Development Goals. What if education systems prepared learners to enter the workforce as well as handle a crisis, be resilient, become responsible citizens, adapt to change, recognize and solve local problems with global roots, meet other cultures with respect, and create a peaceful and sustainable society. What Mamta was saying, integration of both academic and vocational. In fact, it has to be holistic education, the point raised by you also. Like with skill development, it has to be the academic education also, and not academic education in the sense that it leads to them becoming useful citizens. And of course, for this, education for life or living and livelihood, both of them have to be there. And these are different ways in which we can think of it. We can think of giving them thinking skills in the development of affective domain, value inculcation, and livelihood, all four. These are the characteristics of adulthood and the developmental tasks of adolescence. And then, of course, the 4 pillars of UNESCO also talk about this: learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. Ultimately, what is important is we need to give knowledge with skills. We are talking of skill development here. So we need to give knowledge that goes with skills, those areas, attitudes and values which go with those areas also. If we only provide them with skills, but they don't have the attitudes and values that have to go with their work, the work that they are doing, then it will not be very good. And of course, they should know what they are doing. Some knowledge, some theory has to be there. So it has to be holistic education, and I think this is what we should move towards sustainable development, which means it should be holistic education, not merely skills and not merely academic education, not merely scholastic, not merely non-scholastic, all of them together. And only then we can move towards a society which will be where all individuals will be useful and they will lead a good life. And all those wrong things that are going on in the society can be dealt with. Thank you.